Personal style can define you as a person and help you express yourself. And the end of the year is a great time to take a look at your closet and decide what's working or what's not. Something that's not working for me? I don't have a corduroy suit. I love corduroy pants, love a corduroy shirt. I'm even such a sicko that I have multiple corduroy hats, but not a corduroy suit. And that's where Indochino comes in. Indochino offers completely custom-fitted suits, shirts, casual wear, and more at surprisingly affordable prices so you can get a wardrobe personalized to your style and taste without spending a fortune. Every piece is made to your exact measurements, and you can customize every detail. Choose everything about your suit, including the fabric, lapel, monogram, and statement linings, to create a suit that fits you and your style perfectly. You already know I'm going corduroy, probably navy, maybe olive, and I'm definitely going for a statement lining, but I'm not sure if skeleton chic or suitadelic is the move, though I love the sound of either of them. The best part, Indochino's suits start from just $429 and shirts start from $79 with all customizations included. And here's a little tip they don't want me to mention. The corduroy suits are on sale right now. Just a little tip for all you cord heads out there. So give yourself a custom closet revamp with Indochino, or give the gift of great style with an Indochino gift card. Right now you can get $50 off any purchase of $3.99 or more by using promo code NODUNKS at Indochino.com. That's $50 off a purchase of $399 or more at Indochino.com. Promo code NODUNKS.
Super Mario, I got you. I got you.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Monday, December 13th. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, I know he loves a good Sir Foster. It's Stas Mellis.
It's great to hear and see the man behind the organ.
Got our top shot hot boy ripping them lips. Hey, Kirby.
Hey-o.
Hey. Yo. The international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Leigh Ellis.
Friends.
Leigh, and last, certainly not least, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. Shout out to the stream team for joining us live right now on YouTube. Let's everybody take a second, like the video, comment away, both live and later in the YouTube comments. Subscribe and share the show. We eclipsed 46,000 subs on YouTube over the weekend, so we are getting awfully close to 50K. Let's do it by Christmas, guys. Help us out. Email in your NBA questions to nodunks@theathletic.com. I'm sure we'll hit the beach at some point this week. Get to beach stepping, so get those cues in, get your comments in, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It's on fire. Our TikTok account, woo! Mwah! Chef's kiss at NoDunks Inc. INC. Best way to do that. Also, if you haven't already, I don't know what you're doing, but check out Sunday's No Breaks season finale. What an ending to the Formula One season. My God, Trey and Graydon did an excellent job breaking down Max Verstappen's first Formula One World Championship victory there after a very controversial victory over Lewis Hamilton in Abu Dhabi. Trey, that was crazy.
That was a crazy race. It's worth watching the race and then listening to the podcast right away. I'm happy we did it live yesterday, even if we didn't necessarily have everything totally figured out about what happened. But Skeets might not be the season finale. We might have to do a
remix after the court case goes down at the FIA court. Can Lewis Hamilton win his 8th championship sitting in a chair? We shall see.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
We went car racing, Toto.
Motor racing, wasn't it? Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, go check that out. Great job by you and Graded all season long. And hey, maybe it's not done even this season. Then we'll look ahead, of course, to next season. I heard they start like in 90 days or something like that the next season. Is that correct?
I think we're down to 97 days now, Skeets.
Wow.
Yeah, short off season because they do their off season in the middle of the season. So all you got to do is simply build a car and get it ready to race.
Right. Oh, yeah. Silly season where the drivers are moving around, they call it. All right. Well, fun Monday show. You guys know how we do it. Winners and losers of the NBA weekend. Let's start with the winners. That makes sense. I'll go first, actually, because I just want to tee this up for you guys and everybody here in the stream team. Kevin Durant is a winner of the weekend. He scored an NBA season high 51 points against the Detroit Pistons. 116-104 victory came in. He was unstoppable looking. I mean, he scored from all over the floor. This is what KD does. He had 6 shots at the rim. He had 5 from the mid-range. He had 5 from deep. He made 14 free throws. Oh, yeah, he also had 7 boards, 9 assists, and 2 blocks. Asked if he was aware that he was approaching 50 points, Leigh, in the fourth quarter, Durant cracked a smile and said, "Of course." And so there it is. I love that. That's some honesty right there. Yeah, I knew. And he set the record for points scored in Little Caesars Arena, which only opened a couple years ago. No, here's the fun part about the stats, right? No, here's the fun part. He bested Blake Griffin's 50 in 2018, Kyrie Irving's 45 in 2020, and James Harden's 44 last season. All of them, of course, on the Brooklyn Nets. That's the weird part there. So I guess the 4 highest scoring performances in the pizza box all belong to Brooklyn. But yeah, Leigh, KD, I mean, you saw this masterpiece there on Sunday. This was after a nice victory on Friday night against the Hawks. Then he got fined $25,000 for getting into it with a fan, and then he follows it up with the 51 there.
Yeah, it looked last night especially like, you know, like in Australia when you play juniors, it's under 12s and then under 14s and then under 16s. It looked like KD was an under 16er playing against under 12s last night. Just like he had that game in total control. Now, the Pistons led this one. They actually competed, but it felt like when Kevin Durant was like, yeah, okay, guys, you've had enough fun here. Now I'm just going to go out there and take it away from you. And he was just fantastic. No one could really stop him. I mean, at one point, Frank Jackson was trying to get all up in his grill, and KD just turned around, looked down, and kind of smirked and laughed as if to say, guys, you didn't really think you were going to win this game, did you? I mean, come on, let's be serious. A little bit the same what happened Friday night down here in the Fortress. Trey Young was getting into it there with KD, and KD just kind of looks down at him and says, like, Trey, I respect you. You're a good player, but you're not going to beat me. Sorry, this is what I do. I'm Kevin Durant. He hasn't been shooting the three-pointer all that well by his standards in the last few games here, but he hit a couple last night to just really sort of separate the teams and just remind everybody that, hey, Kevin Durant, pretty good player. I think Steph Curry remains the MVP favorite for this season, and Giannis probably second. But more games like this here from Kevin Durant, he's going to certainly keep his name in that conversation because, you know, again, by his standards, I don't think he's had one of those huge Kevin Durant seasons, but he just sort of turns it on when he needs to. And he's always fun to watch because he's villainous. He is villainous, you know, and we saw that. He got the fine there on Friday night. He talks a bit of trash to the crowd. He gets into it, but he also does know exactly. This goes back to his Thunder days. He knows exactly what his box score is. Don't ever question that. So, yeah, another fantastic performance. He's so silky smooth to watch, and it's good to see sort of evil Kevin Durant just pop up every now and again, especially on a bit of a dreary Sunday, let's be honest, on the schedule.
Well, I guess so, yeah. This was the 7th 50-point game of KD's career. Quick trivia time. Since he entered the league, only 4 other guys have more 50-point games than KD with the 7. Can you guys name them?
Curry, Harden, Lillard.
Curry, Harden, Lillard. One more.
Giannis.
No.
50
LeBron?
More than
LeBron.
Oh,
yeah. So it's Harden's good.
He is good.
Yeah,
he's more of a passer in my book, but I guess he can score as well.
I think it's a little surprising. LeBron was on there. Harden with 23, Lillard with 12, Curry with 10, and LeBron with 9. Again, that's since KD came into the league. Anything to add from that performance task that we saw there? Really, both games from Durant. What he scored over 80 points this week.
Yeah, Durant, with James Harden sitting drinking that smoothie on the sideline, had to take over for this Brooklyn Nets team. It was reminiscent of what he did to the Bucks last year in the playoffs when Harden was playing on one leg. And I think it's cool that he passed Curry's 50-point season high this season. Curry had the highest in a season this year. And I don't know if KD knew that when he was dropping that bucket there with a minute 30 left to get to the 50, but I just find it very tasty, very delectable that we've got Kevin Durant in one conference, his former teammate in the other conference, and Steph Curry, and those two dudes atop their games. And it's feeling, like we've got a good possibility that they could face in the finals. Obviously, Giannis has to say something about that.
Yep.
But when you watch Kevin Durant and you look at a 7-footer be able to do anything on the floor. I don't want to get into this first take debate, but who do you take as your number one pick? If you're having a draft right now, would you take him over Curry and Giannis? I mean, it's debatable. And then you even forget about LeBron. Actually, LeBron obviously hasn't had a great season, but I think he's a winner of the weekend because the man can sleep. The man can sleep a lot. He said before his Sunday game, he slept 12 hours. You got to be a winner to be able to do that. But it was a 12-hour sleep in a 12-and-a-half-hour window. He said he slept 12 to 8, got up, normal hour, 8 a.m. He had breakfast, and then he went back to sleep at 8:30 till 12:30. He slept.
That's a lot of sleep.
Respect.
Yeah, and that's how he did it. He said that's the only way you can heal your body. It wasn't a calm ad as we've had on this show. It sure does. But impressive stuff. Dave McMahon reported that on ESPN. The headline, I don't have it in front of me, but it basically was LeBron has a great game due to sleep. So amazing stuff from LeBron. I know he'll be there in the end. He's chilling right now. But, you watch KD, you watch Curry and those former dudes and them, it seems like their trains headed up against each other. But, we've got other teams to talk about. But either way, man, special stuff with him on the leaderboard now with 51 and Steph with 50.
Yeah, LeBron did have 30, 11, and 10, 3 blocks. He shot well against the Magic, like Tess said on Sunday. Jokic also, he's in this conversation for an MVP race early on. 35, 17, and 8 in a revenge win over the Spurs. That's pretty good. And then Giannis, you slipped his name in there. He averaged, the Greek Freak did, in 2 road games this weekend, 30.5 points, 13.5 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and a block and a half, shooting 63% from the floor. And he did all of that in about 34 or 35 minutes per game. So, yeah, pretty good weekend there for the stars of this league. Trey, Kirby, I don't know if you have anything to add to either any of those guys or back to KD there with the 51.
Well, I just like that Kevin Durant scored as many points in the fourth quarter as the entire Detroit Pistons team did. 13-13 for KD, and it was takeover mode. And like Leigh mentioned, he's playing defense as well. The guy is all over the court. 51 points, that's almost expected from Kevin Durant. Whoa, you didn't have a 50-point game yet this season? Welcome to the club, buddy. But the effort he's given defensively and as a playmaker, I think, is special too. And that's why he's certainly, at worst, he's third in MVP voting right now. I mean, Curry's up there. Take your choice between Giannis and Jokic. Who else you're going to put in the mix? But I mean, those 4, that's the 4 right now. We shall see at the end of the season what the records are looking like and what the total stats are looking like. But it's going to be a tight contest, especially now that the Warriors have taken a couple of losses here as Steph Curry has basically been trying to get this record. So once they start playing basketball, maybe we see Curry creeping back to the number 1 spot. But right now, feels like a toss-up.
Tess, let's go to you next. Who's the winner of the weekend?
The Cleveland Cavaliers.
This is a Groundhog Day with you, I feel.
Well, but now this team is for real. It was a cute story to start the season, but what they did on Saturday, it's the equivalent of a basketball annihilation. I mean, there's no other word for it. Actually, there's other words, but I just watched this team and what they did on Saturday, and it's now for real. They are going to be buyers at the deadline. The Cavs. They're totally for real for the first time since LeBron was there. And I think they strike fear into their opponents. They're not this cute story anymore. The good weekend started on Friday. They went into Minnesota. They hammered the Timberwolves. It was a drubbing. They were up 33 at one point in the game. Bigs of Jared Allen and Evan Mobley just getting lob after lob after lob, just dunking on them Wolves. And this team is just so big. It had 31 baskets in the paint, 62 points in the paint. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. This team that starts the 3 7-footers. I know we'll get to the Wolves in the other direction that they're going. Are they going to be sellers? We'll get to that later in the show. But this Cavs team, I think, is for real. Not only just that Friday drubbing. Okay, the Wolves are the Wolves. But Saturday it was worse. It was a massacre, a Saturday night massacre. It took place in Cleveland, the Cleveland Cavaliers over the Sacramento Kings late in the second quarter. They were already up 20 points, so they're already hammering the Kings. But their bigs started blocking every shot, and then they just ran down the other way, and their littles would score immediately, time after time and time after time. It was like it was scripted. It felt like I was watching it live. It just felt like if you were going to depict one basketball team kicking the other one's ass as hard as possible, this would be it. Block, bucket, block, bucket, block, bucket. Jared Allen, huge block. Cavs run it down the floor. 7 seconds later, 3-ball. Cavs bench is hopping up and down. It's a movie. And then the next play, Cavs go inside again. Evan Mobley this time stops De'Aaron Fox. 7 seconds later, Cavs another 3-ball. The bench is going bonkers. A lot of sevens there. Anyways, the lead was at 27 at that point. They put up 81 points in the first half against the Sacramento Kings. That doesn't happen very often. 81. That was Jose Calderon's number a couple years back with the Cleveland Cavaliers, if you remember that. Not too many guys were 81 in the league. Quick trivia. Jose Calderon and the other player to wear 81 in NBA history. It's actually a current player.
Mie Oni.
Oh, nice call.
Mie Oni of the Utah Jazz.
Sicko mode.
Yeah, very sicko mode. Trey's not playing. Either are the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, I think they're ready to put this LeBron era behind them for the first time. Really, for the first time here. I know they were a cute story to start last year, but I think they've proven that they're better than the Knicks, Celtics, Hornets, and Wizards, sort of that tier of team. And I think if you look at the tiers in the Eastern Conference, the number one tier to me, it's the Bucks and the Nets. Mm-hmm. And then the tier 2 teams that are knocking on the door to get in there are the Bulls and the Heat. They're close, but if you're going to have to knock one of those teams off, the Nets or the Bucks to get into the conference final. Then there's tier 3, and I think the Cavs belong there along with the Sixers and the Hawks. And the Cavs are as good as those other 2 teams or better. They've got the toughest schedule to date, ton of injuries, and now I expect them to make the playoffs. I listed 7 teams there. Top 6 are the real playoff teams. Forget about this play-in tournament. So I expect them to be in there. And the interesting part here is 2 months before the trade deadline, what do? We talked about them possibly acquiring Karis LeVert as their shooting guard on Friday's show when we went through some of those Pacers deals. I know Joe Varden, he was at the Annihilation on Saturday, a writer for The Athletic, and he wrote about potentially Karis LeVert as well, going to the Cavs. I'm not sure if he was listening to No Dunks while he was sitting there courtside with his pods in, watching 81 points in the first half. This Cavs team, man. So you don't want to play against this team. You just don't want to play against Allen and Mobley, and then they starting Lauri Markkanen beside him, who's quietly being decent.
He's doing good, man.
Yeah. Just playing his role, not messing around. And I think the entire team is doing that. Like Isaac Okoro now in for Colin Sexton at the shooting guard spot. Can't really shoot at this point, but he's playing incredible defense if you watch him. Cedi Osman, the Turkish LeBron. I mean, he is playing really well off the bench too. Love Ruby off the bench, and Darius Garland is, if you watch him, lots of Twitter highlights of his passes dropping this weekend because he is setting guys up and he's really grown. So this team is growing. And I know our fans were really smart on Friday when we were talking on the drop. Do you really want to mess with this chemistry that they have? Right. Do you want to bring in a guy who's going to be a big piece like Karis LeVert? I'm not sure how you guys feel about that, but I know I go both ways. I mean, the Cavs front office knows the locker room better than I do, but man, this team is going to be a disappointment for me if they're not in that top 6. And the Hawks and Sixers, I think, are kind of on the same playing level as the Cavs.
I just wanted to bring up this comment in the stream team from Matthew talking Cavs here. He says, "What's the Cavs ceiling though? Maybe win a couple of playoff games." To that I say, yeah, like yes. And I don't want to make funny here, Matthew, but this happens a lot. They're like, well, yeah, but what? They're going to get in the playoffs and maybe lose in the first round, maybe win a couple games. But that's good. That's a good step. And that's really great when your core is Garland, Sexton, maybe not there, the Sexton part of that, Allen, and Mobley. That's totally fine. And who knows, things break the right way, and maybe you are the Hawks of last year, and you're winning a first round series, and maybe even another one. You never know. So it's you can't just go from being nothing to a championship team. There have to be steps. And I think that's great when your team is also young. Now, the question, Trey, that Tass asked, are you active at the deadline because you are good and maybe you could get another piece like a LeVert, like somebody else? Or do you worry about, screwing up a chemistry issue?
I 100% would trade Colin Sexton to try and get somebody who's going to play this year and help out in the playoffs, because the Cavs have posted a great record. They're 8-1 against teams that are below 500, 8-11 against teams that are 500 and above. The teams that Tass mentioned this weekend, they're shit teams, the Timberwolves and the Kings, and they smashed them, which is exactly what you should do, and that's what you do when you're a good team. But if you want to make some noise in the playoffs, you're going to need to get something from the Sexton spot, and since he's not playing, and since you're kind of up in the air about whether you would want to bring him back anyways, why not trade him and get something that helps this year?
Yeah, Leigh, what do you think?
Well, they've also got another little dilemma here because Love is real for them off the bench. Now, do you try to cash in on him, or do you say, listen, this is actually a really good part of our second unit. He's giving us pop. He looks happy out there. I don't know if, remember the body language last year, last couple of seasons, in fact, from Kevin Love has been like, I don't want to be here. But his contract's been so big. I think that's the main reason why teams haven't traded for him, but also he hasn't been producing. Now, in a much different role, much reduced role, he's really going out there and giving them some experience, some leadership, hitting those threes and playing really well. So if you're the Cavs now, do you go, well, hang on a minute. We love having this veteran who can give us that off the bench, that steady hand. Or do you say, maybe now we try to cash in and get another younger piece that's
sell high.
A little along our timeline. But I think, and that's a situation there with Sexton. Yes, if they can trade him, sure. But the chemistry they've all got right now, they're not looking for a big shakeup. They're just looking for some of these, a periphery piece that can help out and sort of complement the other players they've got. So it's a great situation the Cavs are in right now. They've got tradable assets. They're also playing really well. So they don't need to make a trade. But if the right one comes along, then I think they've got a couple of things to throw at it. So, it's really interesting just watching them play. They look like they are enjoying each other's company. And I think that's a huge thing for the Cavs in the past, where it's always been like last season, remember, they started off well, but then it was like, no, this is not, we're playing too well. Let's get rid of Andre Drummond. Let's change things up. And their season fell away. I think they've learned from that. And they're like, let's not do that. Let's just keep trying to ride this wave because, it can be quickly taken away from you. So, fun team to watch, really playing well. And again, I think as Trey mentions there, pounding teams that you should pound is a sign of a good team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then get back to Matthew's comment here in the stream team, where he said, well, what's their ceiling? Win 2 games or 3 games? What we saw last year with the Phoenix Suns going from a non-playoff team to a finals team is just extremely rare in this league. It just doesn't happen very often. What really usually happens, I mean, the Hawks example is a good one, Skeets, where a team wins a couple of games, gets to the playoffs, and then eventually wins a playoff series. And they got, probably a little bit lucky with the Sixers situation in the second round, but they took advantage of that and they went to the conference finals. There are steps in this league. You don't just go to be a championship team. And also Matthew's comment, an extra one here that he threw in, Cavs as good as the Sixers? Yes. Right now, I think the Cavs legitimately as good as the Philadelphia 76ers. They're a solid basketball team. And Trey brings up a good point. They're not incredible against the great teams because sometimes they're not great in the last couple minutes. Sometimes they're feeling it out, but that's a good problem to have. I mean, they're just getting better. So yeah, I think making the playoffs, winning a series is probably the peak. In a dream world, winning a series is great, but I don't care. I think they can play with the Philadelphia 76ers, yeah.
All right, Trey, who do you have for winner of the weekend?
I got the Memphis Grizzlies. They won 1 game over the weekend. They beat the Rockets. Pretty easy win for Memphis. They trailed 1-0 and then led the entire way after that. Ended up being a 7-point victory. Got a little dicey at the end, but no problem for the Grizzlies. No Ja Morant, of course. No Jaren Jackson Jr., a late scratch. Steven Adams didn't play in the second half, but the Grizz had enough thanks to the double DBs of Dylan Brooks, 25 points, and Desmond Bane adding 19. Some dude named Killian Tilly had 12 points and 3 threes. I was just getting used to John Conchar running around out there. Now there's Killian Tilly in the mix. Crazy stuff. But the real reason the Grizzlies are the winner this weekend is because this W came on Zach Randolph jersey retirement night, or as they were calling it, 50 for the city. Zebo's number 50 became the first retired number in Grizzlies franchise history. And because it's Memphis, they gave him a platinum record plaque, which I thought was cool. And even his jersey banner is a platinum record, paying tribute to the musical legacy down there in Memphis, the home of Stax Records, the home of Sun Records, and of course, the setting for 2005's Hustle and Flow, which means that Zach Randolph became the first NBA player to have his jersey retired while being serenaded with "Whoop That Trick."
Whoop that trick.
They're just screaming "Whoop That Trick" as they're unveiling his jersey. Incredible stuff for the Grizzlies. But Zach Randolph, 8 seasons in Memphis, put up 16 and 10. One of the defining players of the grit and grind era, a super unique guy. I don't think we've seen another Zach Randolph since we've seen Zach Randolph. And the idea of him getting his jersey retired, it definitely makes sense to us now in hindsight. But if you told anybody when Zach Randolph got to the Grizzlies after his time in Portland, and especially with the Knicks and the Lakers, that he was going to have his jersey retired, no chance they believe you. But this guy really turned the franchise around. Marc Gasol and Mike Conley were already there when Z-Bo showed up after the 08-09 season. Just 24 wins for Conley and Gasol because they were really young early in their career. Z-Bo shows up as a veteran, really legitimizes the team. They jet up to 40 wins in his first season, and the next year, 46 wins for Memphis, their first playoff appearance since the Pau Gasol era, and most importantly, their first playoff series win, the 8th seed Grizzlies upsetting the 1 seed Spurs. I went back and watched some of these highlights. Zach Randolph, incredible in the Game 6 closeout, 31 points, 11 rebounds, 17 in the fourth, and it's only on Zach Randolph shots, dinkers and dumpers, like ridiculous fadeaway mid-range jumpers over Antonio McDyess, San Antonio McDyess, if you will. So seemed like a fun night for the Grizzlies. They got the W on the court, got the W up in the Raptors. Whoop that trick, guys.
Yeah,
just
awesome.
when in doubt, whoop that trick.
Yeah, little slip of the tongue there. I think you said Lakers. You obviously meant the Clippers. He played for the
the Clippers. Yeah.
Yeah, the LA team wrong there. But I thought the exact same thing, Trey. That's what crossed my mind watching it. I was like, wow, what a crazy career. Like just the two halves of his career where he was putting up numbers in Portland, you know, the Jail Blazers era and all that right at the end. And then, the Knicks where he had like, you know, one of the worst whoopsies of all time. It was just made fun of over and over and over again. Yeah, the little brief stint with the Clippers. But then, rejuvenated, and the city just fell in love with them, Tass. They're just like so linked, Zach Randolph, Z-Bo, and the city of Memphis. So I was damn near in tears.
Wow.
What? Seriously. I guess I was I was up in the cottage. It was Sunday morning. It was rainy. I was getting ready to leave, and I'm watching in bed because I didn't catch it the night of the retirement and watching the clips and the highlights. And I was like, wow, this is cool. I was very happy for obviously Z-Bo and for that franchise. I think he's a great first person too in that franchise to be sort of honored. So
it is amazing. I think that's where every Canadian man cries. Goes up to the cabin, or goes up to the cottage. Things get a little emotional.
Nature. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe the Tragically Hip starts playing, and you start watching Zach Randolph's retirement ceremony. It's a wild story when he got to Memphis, 4th team in 4 years, and then this shows why you go for it. If sometimes things just come together. I know that this team, wasn't all the way there to win a championship. It wasn't close, but they got to a conference finals, and you remember this team because of everything that sort of came together. It is wild, and hearing "Whoop That Trick" was a little emotional. I'm with you, Skeets. I'm also a little emotional that the Raptors.
I'm not talking about the dinkers and the dumpers and the jump shots he's hitting that's making me cry. In the Grizzlies,
Marc Gasol got on a plane.
There's all these clips of other players, of course, talking about him, but then there's a million clips of him out in the community. And I forget who says it. Somebody's like, I thought my dad was like the realest person in the world or something like that. It's like, but it might be Zach Randolph. Like, just how we can. Again, I'm drawing a blank on who said that. Maybe someone in the stream team and like the videos, like, holy crap, what a compliment. And like, attached with all these, like, he just seems like such a lovable guy. And, he did seem to have like a word for everyone he ever met, be it like the millionaire owner, a guy that owns his business, or like, just a kid that's at one of these events. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if I want to cry tears of joy or tears of pain when I think that the Vancouver Grizzlies, the original Memphis Grizzlies, came into the league the same year as the Toronto Raptors, and they're retiring a number before the Toronto Raptors. Kind of surprising to me when you think about the run that they went down to Memphis, and the Pau Gasol era, as Trey said, the Hubie Brown era. It's a wild, long run to get to the grit and grind and to one conference finals, and then the John Hollinger era, as everybody calls it, with him in the front office. But it's just an incredible story, an incredible team that we will always remember. And I remember, when they were up 2-1 against the Golden State Warriors in that 2015 playoffs when the Warriors won their first title. It was the second round. And I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. They're up 2-1, and it felt like the entire league was wide open at that point because the Warriors hadn't won a championship. This was their first one. And I remember Ernie Johnson coming into the clubhouse there, where the starters were doing their work. We didn't have an office. We just kind of hung out. And so it's called the clubhouse. And Ernie Johnson came in and said, "Who's going to win the title?" And we all said, nobody knew. Yeah. And it just felt like the Grizzlies had a shot there. And then the Warriors figured out the grit and grind when they were, grinding all over Steph there on the perimeter. And Steph kind of found himself and figured it out. But that was, I don't know, those couple of years, and they got to the conference finals. Like, the league was wide open, and they went for it. And that was a fun little era there. And yeah, it's nice. It was very nice. And Zach Randolph always gave us one of his great quotes. If you remember the starters days, we asked him what Olympic sport he would like to partake in. He said, "Ooh, I like to be doing them skins." Doing them skins. Yeah. Good answer, man.
Leigh, anything to add to Zebo and the retirement there and what they did in Memphis?
Yeah, he's a big, lovable teddy bear, really, wasn't he,
Yeah.
Zebo? Because he used to like to bang, but sometimes when things would get a bit physical and there would a foul be called and maybe there's some tension between him and his opponent, he'd just put out his big hands and give you a big hug, and he'd just break the tension right there. And that was the thing about it. I wanted to get one of those big hugs off Zebo because he always had a big smile on his face. And when you think about his game, especially there in Memphis, he was slow, or, almost like Kyle Anderson there. He was slow, but he could get to his point, and he had that little mid-range jumper that everyone can see it coming. He's not out jumping his opponents. He's not long like Kevin Durant, but he had an ability to just get that shot off over defenders and knock it in. And it was incredibly consistent. So, yeah, very happy to see him there. And when Marcus All turned up, that's when I got a bit teary, Skeets. I'm like, they're bringing back the whole band.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
Go watch this clip. And if you don't get a little tear in your eye, you're not human, man.
Yeah. Gets Lionel Hollins there. And Conley, I guess, couldn't make it. He had something to do. But, yeah, if all those guys got back together, it'd be hard to not get a little bit of a bit dusty in the room, if you like. And
I think the Grizzlies, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony Allen is also getting the jersey retirement later this season, so that's something to look forward to. I can't wait to cry again when the grindfather himself is going up in the round. So Trey, do you think they're going to stick with the record sort of motif, I guess, in place of a jersey? Right? I think they would. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a really different sort of spin on things. It looks like a platinum record plaque.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, wow, man. Bars. Get me on the Whoop That Trick remix, please. But yeah, I thought that was cool. I definitely wasn't expecting it. They gave him the plaque first, and then they unveiled the banner hanging. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Something different. It's usually just the jersey. Remember when the Lakers put Shaq's up there and it was backwards? It made it look like the front of his jersey was supposed to be the back. This is better than that. And I don't know. I don't know if there's any other banners that are hanging that are similar to this, where it kind of plays on a theme from the city. I know the Bulls retired numbers are not like this. The Lakers obviously aren't like this. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yep. Leigh, what do you got for a winner of the weekend?
Well, the team that's just quietly going about its business, the Utah Jazz, only had one game over the weekend, Saturday night in Washington. But I'm bringing them up because it wrapped up a very impressive 4-game road streak. The last 3 wins came by a combined 79 points. They've won 7 in a row, still only third in the West. Obviously, the Suns and the Warriors have been great so far to start the season. But the Jazz, they're just doing their stuff in the regular season here, murdering their opponents at both ends. They have the best offensive rating in the league, only 6th in defense. But, I believe a part of that is because they're winning games pretty comfortably. So there's a lot of sort of extra garbage time points, which is sort of, just making it look a little worse than it is. Because during the game, the Jazz just, what they do at one end, they prevent the other team doing at the other end. And some of their stats, like fast break points, points in the paint, points off turnovers, the Jazz are only middle of the pack. But the reason I bring that up is just to show how hard it is to scout against the team. They don't have that, one major strength that you can game plan against to slow them down. The Jazz just wear you down by playing the way that they play. They have tons of weapons, lots of different ways to score, great bench, defend really well. So finding their weakness is pretty difficult right now. And Hassan Whiteside, again, coming off the bench, another double-double in this game. Like, if you're getting that sort of production out of Hassan Whiteside, that is found money for me, because obviously Rudy's fantastic, but to get a secondary backup, a guy who can go out there and just play that role in those minutes is incredibly fortuitous, I think, for the Jazz to get that out of Whiteside, a guy who has had effort issues throughout his career. So they're just playing really well. And now they've got a big home streak as well, where this 7-game win streak could easily be in the teens here. They've got a lot of winnable games. They're healthy. They're the one team that seems to have avoided any real coronavirus or COVID protocols right now. They don't seem to have any weaknesses. And we've seen this before from them, of course, in the regular season. I know we talk playoffs with them, but it's still very impressive that they just go out there and dominate their opponents pretty much from start to finish. They've been certainly doing that recently. And so they deserve some love, even though we tend to overlook them a lot.
Yep, it's great. I'm glad you slipped them in there for a winner of the weekend. Definitely. What's your prediction? How many games are they going to win in a row here? Throw it out there.
Yeah, I mean, so what's 18 is the record from the Suns. It's like, if you look at that schedule they could win all of them. They could be up to 14 or 15, but just because it's the NBA, I think it gets to like about 13, and then someone sneaks up and gets the victory. But they're looking very, very good right now.
Final winner of the weekend before we take our first break and get to the losers. The 76ers, Matisse Thybulle, and maybe Knicks fans? Huh? I'm going to all lump together for a winner of the weekend. Here's why. Saturday, Embiid had 26 and 9. 76ers, they delayed Steph Curry's bid to break Ray Allen's career three-point record in the 102-93 victory over the Warriors. Really, really nice win from Philly here. And Curry was kept in check, shut down. People are throwing out there by about 35, 36 minutes by Matisse Thybulle, who made just his 6th start of the season, but he did a great job defensively, as well as you can, Kerr said. He said, that's as good his job on Steph as anybody I've seen in a long time. So high praise there from Kerr. And we know that he's a great defensive player, Thybulle is. Curry, 6 of 20 from the floor, 3 of 14 from three-point range. Thybulle, the first player to block multiple three-point attempts by Curry in a single game in his NBA career. Yeah, that's how long that guy is. So good victory from the Sixers. Great job from Thybulle, getting some praise there over the weekend in containing Curry and keeping him from breaking Ray Allen's record. And then I say Knicks fans because he hasn't done it yet, Curry. The Warriors play tonight in Indiana. Now, I don't know if we've had breaking news throughout this show here, but he's still up in the air whether or not Steph Curry is going to play in this game. They might rest him, just give him a break here. And then if that's the case, even if he does play, he still needs 7 to surpass Ray Allen. I mean, it's Curry, so we make that seem like it's nothing. It's a decent amount. The next game would be MSG on Tuesday night, Tass. And there, whether he plays tonight or not, pretty good chance Steph Curry could actually set the record in MSG, which would be great for the Knicks fans who are unfortunately getting some losses here. But wow, what a show that would be!
Yeah, it was strange to hear Steph go up to the podium after that loss to the Sixers and start discussing whether or not he was going to rest. I mean, he was asked about it, so he had to sort of answer, and he kind of said, we will do what is appropriate. And so he left that door open, right? And we actually have a fan. His name is John Ledden. He emailed in and said, I live by Indiana. I used to be a season ticket holder. Guys come through here and sit all the time. I could drive there on Monday night. I have the possibility of going to the game. And I know that as soon as I get in the car, they're going to say, Steph's not playing tonight. And this possibility, it sure felt like he was leaving the door open to play Tuesday night, right? I don't know if I was reading into those comments, but I don't know if he wants to do it at MSG, but there's definitely I feel like he's sitting. I feel like he's sitting tonight.
What do you
Steve
think?
Kerr said he expects everybody to play Monday at Indiana per Mark Stein yesterday. And honestly, he should play in Indiana. It's the one time the Warriors go there. And, that's kind of the ask from the league is that if you're going to rest at home. I mean, it's Larry Bird could be around, Reggie Miller, legendary pacer, Ray Allen, maybe he'll fly in. I'm just impressed that anybody cares about the 3-point record. That's how impressive Steph Curry is. Nobody cared when Ray Allen broke Reggie Miller's record, but this has been a story for a week now. It was not a week-long
Wasn't
story
as big as this.
for Ray Allen. But now we're like, we got to fly everybody in. Everybody's got to see this. Should he do it in Madison Square Garden? A lot of thought is going into this. Just go out and play, man. That's the thing. I think it's in his head. He's trying to get the record every single night he's out there. we're like, you got to make 16 in a game. Let's see it. Just go play, and you'll easily hit 7 if you play in the flow of things.
Yeah, he's had some rough shooting nights here lately, and you have to think maybe like this chasing of the record here is having some effect on him. Again, I want to give credit to Thybulle and Sixers defense and how they played him, but he was just missing shots that he also hits. So does he play tonight? Maybe that's the best case scenario. He plays in Indiana. Pacers fans get to see him the one time they come through, and he only hits, I don't know, 4, 5, something like that, and then plays in MSG, which would be on TNT, I believe. I'm guessing the Knicks-Warriors game is one of their headliners there on Tuesday night. Somebody can fact check me if you want. And then he could possibly break it there. Then it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I think, of course, Steph could hit 7 if he needed them in Madison Square Garden. But
yes, it's on TNT.
Thank you.
I think he should take a little bit of the pressure off himself and just get out there and however many hits tonight. So then he's only got to hit maybe 2 or 3 in Madison Square Garden. There's no question it was a distraction on Saturday night because every time he touched the ball, it was like, is he going to shoot? He hit 2 that didn't count, highlights that weren't, in fact, and 2 of them were great bombs as well. And then the 3 that he did hit, certainly the first 2 were tough. He was just, because everyone was just so focused on him out there at the 3-point line. And the Sixers winning that game, I think, it certainly was impacted by the fact that there was so much attention being put on this record here from Steph. So, yeah, if I'm the Warriors, I'm just like, just play tonight, man. Just play. We don't need way more attention going into tomorrow night. Hopefully, potentially, he needs 1 or 2, and he can do that in the first quarter, and then the record's done, and then they can move on. But yeah, the thing is, Steph's probably going to be 1,000 clear by the time he retires certainly of Ray Allen. I mean, Klay Thompson and Harden and those guys will be closer to him, but it's one of those weird things. It's like this record, there's going to be so much distance between Ray Allen and Steph Curry when Steph eventually retires that Ray Allen could be like 25th on the all-time makes by the time it really could be. I mean, Kyle Korver, I think, is still 4th right now, which is like, wow. So it's a silly little distraction, and the fact the Warriors lost the game, I think, was a big part of that.
Yep. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we will get into losers of the NBA weekend. I got a great email from Masterclass the other day. Really caught my attention. It was titled, How Powerful Leaders Make Tough Decisions. It was all about learning what it takes to lead. Well, that's all I needed. Got me, sucked me right in like a tractor beam. I'm suddenly clicking through. I go inside the minds of mountain-moving instructors who have tirelessly led teams and companies and even countries toward a brighter vision. Here I am learning to keep my team on the same page with former Disney CEO Bob Iger. Here I am encouraging limitless creativity thanks to Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour. And here I am turning every challenge into strength with former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. There are so many helpful courses. Next up, I'll probably be discovering new ways to communicate effectively or taking greater risks with my decision-making and putting together an unstoppable team. Oh, wait, don't need to do that. Look at the boys here. Throw them back up, JD. Look at this unstoppable team. Won't be taking that masterclass. So, with Masterclass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. This holiday, give 1 annual membership and get 1 free. That's awesome. Go to masterclass.com/no-dunks today. That's masterclass.com/no-dunks. Terms apply.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Check out betterhelp.com/no-dunks. The best way to think about therapy is through a bunch of analogies. We get our cars tuned up to prevent bigger issues down the road. We do exercises like bar 3, for example, to keep us in great physical and mental shape. And we pick Legos up off the ground to prevent us from stepping on them later that day. Going to therapy doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means you're investing in yourself to keep your mind healthy. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Why invest in everything else and not your mind? This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and No Dunks listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/no-dunks. That's BETTERHELP.com/no-dunks.
We've had our Helix mattress for a while, and I've done a few ads for it, but I've been a little reluctant to mention one thing I like about it because it sounds a little weird, but whatever. Got to come up with something. So one of my favorite things about the Helix mattress is the smell. Not kidding. JD, you said Your nose is one of your only senses you have remaining.
That's
I know
true,
you have
yes.
a Helix mattress.
Uh-huh.
I know you're a sensitive smell guy.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Helix mattress odor? Because I like that packaging smell.
The packaging smell of the Helix.
It's there.
I mean,
It's fresh. It's still there. It's still present. I take a nap on it, and it just feels nice. Like, I don't know. It's just a nice odor. It's like I'm sort of at the beach. I know, Leigh, you've mentioned before that you're at the ocean, had a long day on the beach. You like to take a nap. What about it? Is it the odor of the ocean, or is it just that you're all tuckered out?
It's the atmosphere, it's the sun, it's the ocean waves. It's just, oh yeah, that's a beautiful feeling, Tassie. You're taking me back. Oh man, I'd love to have my Helix mattress in my hotel room when I'm on my next vacation to the beach.
That's what I'm saying. Saying. It's that odor wafting in for me for the ocean. It's the odor of a Helix mattress.
How about scent? How about scent instead of odor? How about scent?
Oh, does that bother you?
I think that's more of a positive term.
That's right. Yeah.
Interesting. I thought it's a neutral word. I thought it can be a bad odor, but I guess you're right. I guess you're fair. I guess you're right. Okay, it's a beautiful scent. I think the Helix mattress has a beautiful, lovely scent. I love it. I can't deny it. Helix Sleep has a quiz that takes just 2 minutes to complete to match you with your perfect mattress and your perfect scent. Just kidding. That's not part of the quiz. My mattress is the Nap Deluxe. That's what I call it anyways. It's the Midnight Luxe because I like a medium firmness and I sleep every which way. Everybody's unique and Helix knows that. So they have several different mattresses to choose from. Soft, medium, firm. Great for cooling you down if you sleep hot. Mattresses great for spinal alignment to prevent morning aches and pains. And even a Helix Plus mattress for plus size sleepers. Yeah. Plus size sleepers. What a weirdo. Anyways, delivery and setting up was fast and easy. Mine is soft but firm and it's really supportive. So take the quiz and get your perfect mattress shipped right to your door. Try it for 100 nights and Helix will pick it up if you don't want it. And now Helix is offering up to $200 off of all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/no-dunks. That's helixsleep.com/no-dunks.
I just love to picture like the Helix boardroom, sitting around the table saying, all right, well, let's see. Let's go through some of the ad reads we got. Let's fire them up. Let's see how they're selling our mattresses. And then, I assume they're going to be talking about the feel of the mattress, how amazing it is to get it delivered, how easy it is to return it if you don't want it. And then they play your clip and here's Tass talking about the odor, how much he enjoys it. They must be like, wow, we didn't think of that angle, that people would be into the smell of our mattresses. But this guy seems to really like it.
Yeah, I hope they're listening because this is a great idea from the Dream Shake. They need to make a candle of this. New mattress.
Well done,
On
Dream
the back,
Shake.
you could put Leigh's blurb. I would love to take my Helix Sleep mattress with me the next time I'm on a beach vacation. What? Just pack this up right quick.
Well, I mean,
I think you could.
Yeah,
I think you could.
Well, you can't really re-roll it and then put it as the
tough.
Yeah.
Well, it's been rolled before.
Yeah, but once it's out,
You
once
got a
it's
vacuum
like,
seal. I mean,
yeah, but you've got
need a vacuum sealer.
compress it as well.
But they have those machines at the airport. They're
Yeah,
plastic
but
wrap it.
It's once you unroll it though and unfurl it, it's just hard.
I
to get
know.
Again, I love the concept. You showing up at the hotel, them seeing you bringing your own mattress. They must go like, wow, this guy must have back problems. He takes this really seriously. And then they find out you brought it because you like the smell of it.
And the comfort.
About my smell.
And the comfort second smell.
Anyways, I was imagining the execs as well as I was reading that, Skeets. I was thinking I like this, but if you look at the whole gauntlet of our ad reads, there's no way they can be disappointed.
No.
Every sense is taken care of. Oh yes, it's comfortable, but it also smells like a freaking mattress candle. That doesn't exist. That should exist.
All right.
A mattress candle. I am gonna look it up just to see what we can find.
No way. There's no such thing. What do you got? Now you got something there, don't you?
Nah,
No, okay.
nothing interesting. Nothing interesting. It's funny. Some of the results are funny. Feel free to
great.
Google it.
Okay, we will. Losers of the NBA weekend. Leigh, have at it. You're up first. Who's the big loser?
I hate using the term loser for this one,
Wow.
but I'm going with the Zion Williamson situation there in New Orleans because he hasn't played at all yet so far this season, and now he's suffered a setback to the recovery from a foot injury that we only just found out about prior to the season, so much so that he's had to basically tone down his rehab work to allow the bone to heal, and there's no timetable for his return, which to me, we're about, 30 games into the season, so we're approaching the halfway mark. I think, listen, I'm probably playing a little bit of internet doctor here, but I'll be surprised if we see him return at all this season because, he's obviously out for significantly more weeks. He's going to have to then come back and rehab. And there's been some footage of him this season where he's obviously gotten a little bit bigger, and I'm not going to try to shame him in any way because if his foot's hurt, he can't really get out there and do that cardio that he would need to do to sort of get into great shape. But there's also now the long-term decision that the Pelicans have to look at here. And, he'll be eligible for his rookie extension this summer. And if you're the Pelicans, I think they're not going to trade him. So we can take that off the table. They're certainly not going to trade him yet. But it's either you give him an extension now, and you can do it like the Sixers did with Embiid, where there's a lot of injury protections in that contract so that if he's unable to sort of play, they're covered. Or you basically just let's see what happens at the end of next season when he'll still be a restricted free agent and they can obviously then match any offer that he's given. And I think if you look at what happened to Michael Porter Jr. in Denver, I think that's probably more where the Pelicans are going to go. They're like, there's no need to extend him this summer because let's just wait and see what happens. He may not even get out on the court this season, and then who knows what's going to happen next season. But overall, it's just so deflating, this news, because he's already missed. Andrew Lopez reported this from ESPN that he's already missed more games than he's been eligible to play in his career so far. And the fact that he's dealing with this and he's not been able to recover, it's just devastating to sort of know this guy who was an absolute lock as a number one pick a few years ago. His career's kind of hasn't really gotten started yet. So that's really disappointing. And for the Pelicans, the season's gone anyway. It doesn't matter if he comes back. Their season's a wash at this point. But it's just more disappointing that he's dealing with this. And I hope this is something that he can overcome, like Joel Embiid, who missed basically his first three. Well, the first three, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he only played 31,
I guess.
31 games in that third season there. But if you look at Embiid, he has been able to overcome that. And he has been an MVP candidate. And he has kind of delivered for the most part for the Sixers. So I hope that it's that and it's not the other way. There's obviously comparisons out there to Greg Oden. I hope that's not the case for Zion. I hope he can get back. But just another blow for the New Orleans Pelicans, a team that just can't afford that right now.
Yeah, Tass, what'd you think when you saw the Zion setback news here this weekend?
Yeah, it's hard not to play doctor from your seat here, but I would just assume that he sits the rest of the season and tries to get back like Embiid did. Obviously, it's different because Embiid came into the league and sat for 2 years, and that was a story in of itself. But now Zion, having come and played and had such a great year last year, I think it's been overshadowed how freaking great he was, dropping 27 points per game at 60% of efficiency. And now this is just overtaking the headlines. It's understandable. So I assume he will not play because it's hard to see him in a situation where he ramps up in March or whatever, late in the season, where the Pelicans are probably out of the playoff picture by then. And considering they already are, and try and get back into it. Feels like it's more of a situation where Zion needs to take the season off. But yes, just completely deflating.
And what are you doing if you're the Pelicans front office, Trey, in terms of extension, not waiting till restricted free agency? And what impact does this have on possibly other moves that you might make this season if Zion is out for the rest of the year?
Well, I mean, I think surely he will get every single dollar and every single year that he can. And I think the Pelicans have to do that because you have the potential of Zion Williamson there, and you're still going to take that over losing him for nothing theoretically down the line. But man, you really got to be hoping this is an Embiid situation and not a Greg Oden situation, right? Huge guys with leg problems, that can be a problem. As we've seen with Embiid, he's turned his career around, and obviously that did not happen with Greg Oden. As for the Pelicans, I'm kind of with you guys. I think he will probably sit this entire season, and they will go the Embiid route. They're one of the worst teams in the league right now, bottom of the Western Conference, though there are some worse Eastern Conference teams. But at the very least, they're going to have a pretty high draft pick once again. I guess that was the silver lining of Embiid sitting all those seasons for the Sixers, is that they were bad enough that they still got to draft high in the lottery. So I don't know. Maybe you're looking at Zion and Chet Holmgren, two of the most different shaped people on earth, as your front court next season. That would be good if they can both stay on the court. But it's a lost year for the Pelicans, another lost year for Zion. A super bummer. I love watching this guy when he's on the court. Just hard to see him on the court a lot these days.
On Friday, we got reports that Philadelphia's trade conversations on Ben Simmons were gathering momentum, right? More teams were engaged, and there were possibly more two and three-way deal structures going on with the 76ers to try and land a top 25 player. And I bring that up when we're talking about Zion here and moves that they could make moving forward. Not Zion related, but is Brandon Ingram interesting at all to the Philadelphia 76ers tasks? Like, is there an Ingram for Simmons type of deal? Is he in the top 25? Is he just on the outside of that? More, top 35, top 40? And does he even sort of fit? Does it make any sense for the 76ers side of things? Like, would that be a player that Morey could be interested in?
Interesting one. I think he would fit. I understand they've got, bigger wings, and it'd be nice to have a ball handler there, but Brandon Ingram is an incredible scorer, and he's been an all-star for a reason, and he's been doing it, while he's been on the floor this year. He's had some great games. Now, Shams reported today in the Inside Pass, the Sixers are, as you said, gaining momentum. It's gaining even more momentum over the weekend. Skeets, Shams naming some teams that have been interested in Simmons. No sign of the Pelicans, though.
No.
Knicks, Lakers, Timberwolves, Blazers, Kings, Pacers, and Cavaliers. Cavaliers, what? I didn't see that coming, but no real sense of how much traction each team has there. But those are the teams I would think that Ingram could come in and score. But I don't know. I don't know. I think he could fit in as like a Jimmy Butler role. I think he could. I do love Brandon Ingram. If you look at the points, you look at the efficiency, he just needs somebody to take the pressure off him. I think it would fit really, really well. It's just I don't know. I think that wouldn't please Zion Williamson. If you trade Brandon Ingram, he's wanted to have a team grow and be great. I think the route for me is David Griffin and the Pelicans probably tell Zion, let's do the Embiid thing, sit down, but we also have to do the Embiid thing where we put something in your next contract, some provisions that if you're injured, we don't have to pay you every single dollar. And that's doesn't really happen a lot in the league, but it did happen with Joel Embiid about his lower extremities, and that could happen with Zion.
Lock this in. We'll be doing an emergency podcast as we lead up to the Christmas break here at some point. It'll probably happen once we sort of like take off some time for the holidays, and then we'll get this big deal. The reason all this stuff is like ramping up momentum, we've said it a million times, December 15th, 84% of NBA players are trade eligible starting that day, which is in a couple days. It's on Wednesday of this week, because that's the first day most free agents who signed a contract in the offseason can be traded. So there's just more pieces to throw into the trade machine, Leigh. But yeah, maybe we're getting close to a Simmons deal. With when you got Woj and you got Lowe and Shams all saying this, I don't know. You hope we're somewhat close to a Ben Simmons resolution.
Yeah, talk's ramping up. That's a very broad. Yeah, no, that's like, I mean, Daryl Morey, again, in the Blaze, he said, give us CJ McCollum and 6 first-round picks. Is that talks ramping up? That, to me, is just like, I'm not trading him unless you just want to go completely crazy here and give us everything. So, I know, we'll see. There will be some movement. But, yeah.
I was surprised to see Shams mentioned the G League showcase is coming up. Apparently, that is the NBA equivalent of the baseball winter meetings, because all of these teams are there watching their prospects, so everybody's able to chat and get stuff done. So I think that's the 19th through the 22nd or something like that, Skeets. So December 23rd, you want to pencil in an emergency podcast here?
I mean, I sort of do, because I know Leigh is leaving for Canada around that time. Trey, I know you're leaving, obviously, to go up to the Chicago area for the holidays. So, yeah, as soon as you guys leave, 100%. JD at some point is leaving. Yes, the emergency will happen at the worst possible time. That's just Murphy's Law. So
You want me to get my dad on the podcast? Come to Steve's house. Steve, you want to
Absolutely.
talk? You want to talk about some trades, Steve?
well, if the Bucks are involved in any deals, we need to get Dwayner on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That should be.
I would love to hear him say Dante DiVincenzo.
Do you think he could?
Dante D.
Okay, let's keep it going. Zion, unfortunately, a loser of the NBA weekend, or the Pelicans, I guess. Trey, who do you have?
Well, the Timberwolves snapped a 5-game losing streak last night with a win against the Blazers, but I still got them as a loser of the weekend because they had a 5-game losing streak, and the loss on Friday was disgusting. Minnesota was coming off that 32-point loss against the Jazz where Anthony Edwards and Patrick Beverley trash-talked the Jazz after losing by 32 points. Complete nonsense. They backed up all that smack talk by getting absolutely smoked by the Cavs on Friday, like Tass mentioned earlier. Minnesota trailed the entire game. They were down by 33 at the worst point in this one, ended up losing 123 to 106, which capped off a week of 3 straight home blowouts. They were down 21 in a loss Monday to the Hawks, 32 Wednesday in that game against the Jazz, then 33, like I said, against the Cavs. Tass mentioned all of the lobs for the Cavs in that game on Friday, 11 dunks for Cleveland. The biggest cheers from the fans were when Taco Fall put Jake Layman in the basket, and Taco Fall plays for the Cavs. The Timberwolves got booed off the court by their fans, understandably. Post-game, Cat was in I don't even want to be around anymore mode. He looked so dejected in his press conference. He said, I've lost for a long time here. Not trying to fucking lose anymore. It's pretty as simple as that. Food don't taste good. Life don't feel the same. Feels bad, man. Here's a few silver linings for you, though. D'Angelo Russell came back against the Blazers last night, got the win. Minnesota 12-10 when D'Angelo Russell is on the court. He's surprisingly important for their defense, which I did not think was a thing. 0-5 without D'Angelo Russell. And earlier this schedule, they got the Nuggets, who are shorthanded, the Lakers, who have been really up and down, and then the Mavericks twice on the schedule. So this could be the start of something. And most importantly, they're somehow still 9th in the Western Conference because the West suddenly sucks. Like the Timberwolves, I got them as a loser of the weekend. At least they did better than the Kings did. So the postseason's still a possibility for Minnesota here. But as John Krasinski said over at The Athletic, which you can subscribe, theathletic.com/nodunks, they're going to have to make a trade. They need another big guy out there. That's why you see him in the mix for Miles Turner. Ben Simmons has been a possibility for basically this entire season, but I don't know. They need somebody out there besides Karl-Anthony Towns, who's over 6'8". That's basically what it comes down to. Somebody else who can maybe try and play defense a little bit.
Tass, who do you have on your loser of the weekend list?
Well, this one's a weird one. The Indiana Pacers for me. I'm squeezing this one in here because they're not a loser of the weekend in terms of the way they play basketball. But it looked like it was going that way after some comments from President of Basketball Operations, Kevin Pritchard. And then we had some Twitter drama. Ooh, I know we like some Twitter drama. So the Pacers have been doing fine. After the Athletic reported, the Pacers put 3 of their big names on the block, Miles Turner, Domantas Sabonis, and Karis LeVert. They've won 3 in a row. Specifically, Domantas Sabonis. Ballin, last 6 games, 21, 14, and 6 assists while shooting 70%. It's like his numbers from last year when he was an All-Star. He's bumped it up. But after the Athletic reported that this is what's happening, they've got everybody on the block. There's a follow-up interview with about Miles Turner and specifically about him. That's when Pacers president Kevin Pritchard said, at some point in time, we've got to figure out how to manufacture that real star. That's when Indy Star reporter asks Sabonis about those comments, specifically, hey, what do you think about Pritchard saying he needs a star? Sabonis said, quote, well, I don't know what to say to that. Got him. The Indy Star reporter just, he took that little quote there and said, hey, you're an all-star. How do you feel about your GM saying that? And that's a juicy little Twitter nugget. So it started bouncing around Twitter. Our friend, longtime Pacers blogger, Jared Wade, he chimed in because everybody's chiming in about this Pacers situation. He said, quote, about Domantas Sabonis, His boss said he wasn't a real star. At the same time, my guy was shooting 70% for 2 weeks. Okay, so here is the interesting part. Kevin Pritchard, president of basketball operations of the Pacers, replied to Jared Wade's comment.
Wow, okay.
He said, here we go. Although I don't respond much, I thought I would give my 2 cents. First of all, I believe in all of our players and hold them to the highest of order. In all honesty, I believe we have multiple, quotations, stars on our team, but we all know we need more. We have challenged our players to be better. The point specifically was so we can close games at higher levels, and if we do, our record will reflect it. Could I have used a better word than stars? Probably. When you get interviewed for hours, you're probably gonna slip up. I speak with our players every day, and I felt bad for using that word. An appropriate apology was sent. No one believes more in this team. So Pritchard, getting out there, being transparent about what he said, and it just shows you that in these interviews that, you say one thing and then one reporter takes it to the player and says, hey, comment on this. And it becomes this big story. And I think it was just strictly just a word that he used. Yeah, Pritchard thinks that the Pacers should be better. That's understandable. They should be better. They have been, sort of middle of the road. And I just wanted to, jump into that because once you have an executive come on Twitter and comment like that, you got to report on it, obviously. They are playing better, but what is their ceiling? And this isn't, an up and coming team. This is what they've been for several years now. So they're 12-16 after winning a few games, but their situation remains exactly the same, no matter what. So I just wanted to slip that Pacers story in there. They're MOR, they're middle of the road, couple months here. We'll see what's up.
I wish Pritchard said this. Jason Fire, 34 in the stream team. I mean, Sabonis is a great player, but he's not a star in the way that can be the number one on a top team. So I don't see a problem with what he said.
Yeah, it's true.
Might be some truth to that. He is a really, really talented player. He is an all-star, as he's proven. These numbers speak for themselves. But Leigh, is he a number one guy that every franchise is looking for? A closer, a guy that can control a game. I don't know. I mean, I don't think he is. I don't think that's a reach to say he isn't. But there's many guys that are all-star level guys that are not the number one on a franchise.
And I don't think he is either. I think he's one of those guys you would love to have as a second or third best player on your team. But if he is your best player, then I don't think you're sort of a serious contender. And again, that's no disrespect to him. I think he's a fantastically consistent player. He's tough. He's smart. He can pass the ball. He can hit the three. But he's just not a sort of drag a team past any other team in the playoff type of guy by himself. He's just not that good. So I don't think what Pritchard said was completely out of place. I mean, if Pritchard does trade him in the next couple of weeks, then that tweet that he had to Jared Wade was pointless, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah,
I mean,
4 tweets.
4 tweets. And to say no one believes in this team more, it's like, well, again, I don't think that's being true, but I also don't think Pritchard's wrong to sort of say, listen, we sort of look at this team, middle of the pack. We aren't really where we want to be in terms of, if you look at Brooklyn and Milwaukee and, Chicago, whoever you want to throw in that, they're not in that bracket. They're potentially they could win a first round because anyone could. We saw the Hawks do that, but that's about it for the Pacers. So, Pritchard doesn't sort of need to defend himself, but I understand as well he can't sort of be seen to be trashing his own players like that, especially if he is potentially going to trade one or two of the bigger players in the next couple of weeks here.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why this made me laugh. Ziggy, just throwing up an Apple Pritchard.
Is that supposed to be like orchard?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I think it may have to do with the way sort of Leigh pronounces his last name too, which is
Pritchard. Yeah. I mean, it's a tough thing because you want to be honest, but then you also, want to. You don't want it to be so you can't go into the locker room with your own players. But look, as I say, the Pacers...
but I mean, do you think that Domantas Sabonis follows both Kevin Pritchard and Jared Wade on Twitter? Because that's the only way he's seeing this response. Tell it to a newspaper. Tell it to the Athletic.
Kevin says I guess he gave them an apology. He either went and talked to them in person or he sent them an email or something. I don't know.
Protests too much, Kevin.
He put it on the whiteboard.
Tass, do you like your mattress Pritch hard or Pritch soft? Ask Sam Hunter.
I like it pitch perfect, man. I hear what you're saying. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Although I will say Kevin Pritchard, however you prefer.
I say Pritchard.
Same. I like to be a starting Pritchard and a relief Pritchard. Relief Pritchards are coming into the game like crazy these days. But Kevin Pritchard says that he is a starting Pritchard. By starting Pritchard, I mean that he comes out and he's transparent with his guys beforehand. We've read in a bunch of these articles on The Athletic that he says to guys, if they are in rumors, that he's the one who tells them that they're in rumors. They don't hear it firsthand. So if he's saying to Sabonis, hey, I didn't mean it that way, maybe he's being truthful about that. And he's being truthful about coming out and telling these guys that they're just, they're not being bandied about unless I tell you to. So maybe that's a good way to run a front office. I don't know.
Just one more comment here. You're telling me Leigh doesn't watch Survivor when he's pronouncing Pritchard like Ricard?
Hey, we got Zaz, we got Zar, now we got the Chard.
There we go. Okay, a couple other losers of the weekend. Some mini ones. JD, I know you got the clip here. KCP, Contavious Caldwell-Pope. Whoopsie of the year candidate there on Saturday night. He attacked Ingles' baseline, took off from inside the paint, and he slammed the ball on the right side of the backboard. Yeah, this is so weird. This gets blocked by the backboard. Also, he had a rough game on Saturday night. The Wizards got hammered in the loss. He shot 0 for 5. He had a floater go over the backboard in the first half. I don't know if you saw that one too. Same game, like comical. This one's getting all the headlines. This is like, again, this will be on the Shackton highlight reel. This would be a whoopsie of the year, possibly winner task. That would be on the nominees list, right?
I've never seen that before. Has anyone seen that before?
Not so like he has a clear path.
Yeah.
Like it's not he blows by Ingles. It's not that congested in there. Yeah, he just sort of like
Whiteside doesn't even jump.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. The
And
guy
it's a
also
clean
at
block.
one point, one season, he had like a wide open layup wedgie, right? Like he grabbed a board and just had a wedgie right underneath. So KCP, that guy can put together a serious whoopsie highlight reel at the end of his career. What a miss.
In other injury news here, Pistons forward Jerami Grant suffered torn ligaments in his right thumb. He's out indefinitely. We're waiting to see, I think, if he's getting surgery. If he elects to go that route, he'll probably be out until late January, early February. This guy's a 20-point per game scorer for the Pistons, who are now 4-22 and have lost 12 straight. So that sucks. I mean, it really doesn't matter because they're not getting into the play-in. They want to give Cade Cunningham all the opportunity he can to grow, and a lot of their younger guys. Cade Cunningham's playing really well over the last 5 games or so. He's putting up some numbers, actually, and maybe we'll make this a little more interesting, this Rookie of the Year race, like we sort of predicted a couple weeks ago, to sort of push, Mobley and maybe Scotty Barnes, but that still sucks for Jerami Grant, Leigh. So just to get it into today's show, we'll throw him, unfortunately, under the losers there, because that sucks.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the Pistons, obviously, this season is a bit of a lost season for them, but Jerami Grant is good. But so I don't know if it really changes a whole lot, though, as far as how many wins and losses. But Cade Cunningham, putting it together a nice little package. I just wonder, though, considering the class out there, has he got enough to really overtake some of those other guys, the leaders? But if you're the Pistons, you're pretty happy with what you're seeing from him so far. Yeah,
and then final one here. I mean, the NBA versus COVID-19 for a loser of the weekend, this is getting out of control. Not that it already wasn't, but much like last year, it's having an impact on this current NBA season. We got a number of players from across the league being forced to miss time here as a result of being placed in the league's health and safety protocols after returning a positive test. And just so everybody remembers, after a player tests positive, he must isolate away from the team for 10 days or return to negative PCR testing in a 24-hour period before they can get back in action. The Bulls are up to what now, 10 players? I think while doing this show, they added a 10th, if I have that right.
Alize Johnson tested positive today.
So they were at 9. Now it's 10 that are in the COVID-19 protocols since the start of this month. They're asking the league to maybe pause their season right now because they technically do have enough guys, because I think it's the league mandates 8, a minimum of 8 players before they would really postpone anything. But this is this is wild. The Hornets obviously have their issues. The Bulls worse than anyone, and then there's a bunch of other guys too that are into these health and safety protocols. And I saw, I think it was it Hollinger or somebody else saying like, does the league need to take a pause here, and maybe take a week or two, or are they just going to try and power through this?
History says they're going to power through because of last year situations where they're kind of going game by game, and that's how I feel they'll play this Bulls Tuesday night game. I think that one will inevitably be delayed, but then guys start trickling back, and it's a team by team thing. And you can reschedule a few games, but I don't see an Olympic style pause happening here for a week or two. I don't see that happening.
No, the list though is crazy. I mean, because Zach LaVine there, DeMar DeRozan, DeRozan was in there. John Morant, of course. I'm just like listing big names. I know Kyle Kuzma has entered health and safety protocols.
Stanley Johnson.
The Bulls signed
RJ
Stanley
Barrett
Johnson as a hardship exception, and then he was diagnosed. Their broadcaster, Stacey King, went into COVID protocols. Bill Wennington replaced him, and now Bill Wennington is in COVID protocols. It is an outbreak for the Bulls right now. Like you said, they got the Pistons on Tuesday. They've got another game a little bit later this week, and they're supposed to be getting Kobe White and Javonte Green are kind of first on the list to be returning from COVID protocols. But I mean, heading into Christmas time, it's like, is the league going to take a pause now when they really start ramping up at Christmas time? Seems unlikely, but man, cases are piling up right now. Yeah, for sure. So, okay, let's hear from you guys. Winners of the NBA weekend, losers of the NBA weekend. I know you've been dropping some of your suggestions in the stream team. Let us know in the YouTube comments below the vid. Tweet at us at No Dunks Inc. We're going to take our final break, but when we come back, tweet of the night fun.
Guys, is there anything better than donating to charity? Well, actually, there is. You could donate to a bunch of worthy causes through Omaze and get a chance to win something totally extravagant and decadent in the process. I'm just looking at the website here. You could win a Tesla. You could win the chance to do karaoke with Charlize Theron, or oh my God, you could meet the cast of Downton Abbey.
What?
I just realized I'm probably disqualified from that because I'm reading this ad. Damn it. Here's how Omaze works. You could enter, you enter for the chance to win something amazing, and at the same time, you can donate to support great causes. It's fun and easy way for nonprofits to raise money and for you to win big prizes like a customized Jeep Wrangler. I have always wanted a Jeep. This one looks like a Rubicon. That's the good one. And it's for St. Jude's Hospital. So that's a great cause. So I'm going to probably donate anyways, but I'm not going to win this Jeep because I think I'm disqualified. Here's how it works. Go to omaze.com/nodunks and select the Jeep Wrangler or a different experience of your choosing. Once you've selected your prize, choose a donation amount from $10 to $150. The more you donate, the more entries you'll get. Through donations, Omaze has raised over $150 million to support over 350 nonprofits around the world. Enter today for your chance to win the custom Jeep Wrangler or other life-changing prizes and experiences at omaze.com/nodunks. Plus, you can receive 20 extra entries when you enter the code NODUNKS20. That's omaze.com/nodunks.
When it comes to content, there are a few things I'm great at. Cannonballs, making hats tall, saying whether or not certain things are back. And there are other things I'm not so great at, like flyers, announcements, infographics, basically anything that gives actual information. And that's why I love Canva Pro. Canva Pro is a design platform that empowers you to create and share stunning content in just a few clicks. It's amazingly fast and fun, and with endless premium fonts, photos, videos, and more, you'll have that special someone saying, ooh, stunning content in no time. For just $12.99 a month, you can have 4 teammates and unlock everything Canva Pro has to offer. Designing together has never been easier, as Canva Pro helps you stay organized, on the same page, and on top of team projects with real-time sharing, editing, and commenting. Right now, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you use our promo code. Just go to canva.me/nodunks to get your free 45-day extended trial. That's canva.me/nodunks. Canva.me/nodunks. Design like a pro with Canva Pro.
It's time for Tweet of the Night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
Got 2 tweets for you guys. Very, very different. First one, it's from Tom Ziller at Team Ziller. Ghostface Ziller. Quote, given F1's apparent success in leveraging a behind-the-scenes Netflix show to build American fandom, it remains mind-boggling that the NBA doesn't have a Hard Knocks style show. Now, I saw the responses to Ziller. A lot of people pointing out the NBA has tried this, the Hard Knocks style. The association. You guys remember that? Didn't really take,
Celtics?
did it?
Was it a Celtics?
Yeah. Was there a
feel
Nuggets
like there
one
was
too?
something with, yeah, maybe so. I feel like Big Baby Davis was involved in one of them. I don't know why. Just what I'm feeling.
Yeah, and other people pointed out the Raptors do something similar. They do open gym, which is along the same lines. They obviously just for their team. But what did you think, Leigh? I mean, what's your take on this? You know, he's alluding to F1 and the success of Drive to Survive, getting people like myself into F1. Does this work though in the NBA if they tried something Hard Knock style or Drive to Survive style?
I think the first thing they need to do is open up the mic'd up segment, because that's very vanilla. Like, good job, man, good hustle. We got to get this. You know, it's nothing. It's like the in between quarter interview on the sideline.
Yeah,
coach. You guys, good defense in the first quarter. What'd you like about it? You know, oh, we played hard. It doesn't tell us anything. There's no juice there. There's no meat on that bone. So I would start there, miking up somebody and being a little bit more free with it and saying, if he's calling out another player on the other team, like, for example, let's just say Patrick Beverley. I think you'd get gold out of Patrick Beverley on the sideline, trash talking everyone while his team's getting pounded. That, though, is more interesting to me than seeing someone just like gassing up their homie when he makes a good play. You know, it's like, great work out there, buddy. Doesn't do anything. So I would start there and see if you can get some traction out of that, and then potentially look into building it into a seasonal thing if you can do that. But I think that's clearly the NBA just doesn't have enough of that juicy in-game stuff that we all really want, and we just don't get.
Yeah, you want the spiciness of Twitter in a television show.
Right.
The problem is the league ever going to really want that?
But if Kevin Durant is jawing with somebody on the other team,
yeah,
we want to hear that without it being censored and without, well, I mean, okay, you don't want him just like cussing the whole time, but you want to hear the battle rather than just the like, good job, guy, you know, whatever it is. Like that just doesn't excite anybody.
Okay. Yeah, Trey, what do you think? Could this ever work for the NBA?
Not the way that the NBA is right now. Like Leigh is saying, the league is too concerned with their image to let bad words go out, because, I mean, like, that's the incredible stuff with Hard Knocks is you're seeing, like, unvarnished takes from these people. They're yelling at each other. Nobody's really caring about whether or not they come off good. They're just going through their training camp. And I think that that's the difference with the NBA is it's going to be very controlled, just like a hot mic segment is anytime you watch that. And it's just, let's go, let's play hard, great stuff out there. So yeah, if the league were to kind of completely change the way they market the game and allow players to actually show their personalities rather than just their media personalities, it would be awesome. And as many people are mentioning in the stream team, a lot of teams do this on their YouTube channels, but it's all very safe as well. And I also think there's something lost in that, like, a football roster, there's like 75 people there, right? Like there's like so many positional battles for players who are like just barely in the league.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as interesting if you're like, oh, is Jared Vanderbilt or Naz Reid going to be starting for the Timberwolves? That's probably not drawing people in.
Yeah, I saw one of the replies too in the comparison to Drive to Survive task was like, they didn't think it would help as much as you think in the NBA because there's just too many games in the NBA too. Like no regular season game is really all that appointment level television, the way like an F1 race is, even a football game is, because there's so few of them, and sort of the schedule of it all, just like this build up to the once a week type of thing. And again, they went on to say, like, if races were on 3 times a week for 24 weeks out of the year or whatever, then the Netflix show probably wouldn't work as well. I think there's some truth to that. But what's your take on this tweet here from Ziller?
Yeah, I think that take is is good. It's similar to the NFL, obviously collecting Hard Knocks footage from, Monday through Friday, where it's just practice. While in the NBA it would be different. It would be a heck of an undertaking to really sort of wrap your head around cameras, around 30 teams traveling all that time. It's different in that F1 is in one environment for a week, right? And the Bucks are in 4 cities in a week. So it's like it's a lot. I mean, we watched The Last Dance. That was one team, and it was obviously highly edited, highly curated to MJ's liking, and it was the word is sometimes it was censored for sure, and that was one team over several years. I just think it's a big undertaking to try and wrap. If you're trying to wrap the 2021-2022 season into like 30 teams and following them, it's just a lot of editing. It's a lot of work. It would be hard to do, and it is. The stars, I go back to the MJ thing. The stars control a lot of it, and I don't know. It would be difficult to do. You'd also, I think, like you guys know the F1 doc better than I do. You're kind of relying a lot on the personalities of the coaches, the front office players, like the teams around these guys. So in the NBA equivalent, it's the front office. I just don't see them being as open about it. It's just a different dynamic. I think it's sort of the league because it's a little bit more closed off. I don't know if it lends itself to something like that. I think the team ones are the best ones in that you follow one team, and there aren't like great examples, but the Open Gym one, the Raptors one is a good one. But yeah, it's about having more access. What it comes down to, it is about being a little less censored and just letting some of this go. And maybe the F1 example is a good one. Maybe the Hard Knocks example is a good one for letting. It's just a good template, I guess, to say, we don't have to be all PG. And I guess that's the way things are going anyway. So let's open it up a little bit. Let's have a few swears, as the kids say.
All right. Well, I'm glad I brought that up. Nice to get you guys' take on that. Everybody in the stream team there. This other tweet, it's from a couple of days ago, but I just had to show it to everybody. It's from @BullisKyle. He said, playing on a raggedy warehouse hoop, which recently fell over and shattered the backboard. We will not be deterred, though. We will still provide amateur wedgies. And then if you're joining us on YouTube, and you got to come over to see the pic here from @BullisKyle, this ball is wedged in the backboard because there is no, for the most part, there's no actual glass there. So this is a first that I can imagine or can remember, Trey. I don't think we've ever seen this one. I'm sure Contavious Caldwell-Pope is sitting there going, I'd like to give this one a go. But I don't even know what you call this. It's like a new variation on a wedgie. Anything come to mind?
I remember somebody responded to this tweet, and I don't know who it was, and said maybe a brick stick.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah,
it's not great. That was
but
you.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was good.
Oh, thanks.
I don't know what else you're gonna call this. Glassy tassy. I don't know. I would have loved to have seen the shot that shattered the glass the first time as well.
Well, he said he said the backboard fell over and shattered, but was that because of a shot? Yeah, who knows? Leigh, what do you think, man?
Yeah, it is hilarious, but I don't know what we call it. Like, it's stuck, it's wedged, it's lodged, but they're all taken, really, aren't they? So
squeezy,
a squeezy, someone's put a squeeze in there, a squishy. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Squishy.
Yeah, a boardy, nice.
A board, okay. And Tass, final thoughts on this very, very rare wedgie.
It is rare. A pole stall? I mean, I don't know. What do you call that thing that's in the middle of a backboard? The support beam, a beam?
Yeah.
The beam.
I need some, the beam. I need something. Yeah, I'm looking for a rhyme for sure, but I got nothing.
Okay. Well, we'll keep working on it. And thanks to @BullisKyle for tweeting that in to our No Dunks Twitter account. Pick'em results Friday night. Lakers, Thunder. Could OKC win their third straight game against the Los Angeles Lakers? No, they couldn't. And they were the dog. They had some points to play with. They got hammered. So makes sense that I got it wrong. Well, the coin got it wrong. Coin has not got one right yet. This
The
is
coin
awesome.
told me.
The coin is, I believe, 0-3. So I'm 1-7 here. I'll be losing another month. Lee's 3-5. I guess you're within striking distance. Tass is 4-4, and Trey is 7-1, the opposite of my record. So lots of games on tonight. Where are we going, Tass?
9 games Monday night. I thought this line was huge, even though I'm a Cleveland Cavaliers backer. They're favored by 5.5 points on the Miami Heat, a very good team, a team that I deem in a tier above the Cleveland Cavaliers. But the Cavs are a 5.5 point favorite at home. So Splitsville is understandable. 2 of us on the Heat, 2 of us on the Cavs. Trey, Leigh taking Cleveland to cover 6 or more. Skeets and myself are on the Heat. Leigh, let's get your take on why you believe the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to cover by 6 or more.
Well, they're at home, playing really well. No injury concerns. 5.5 is a juicy line, but if they play the way they've been playing recently, I think they can do it. Obviously, the Heat still without Jimmy Butler and Bam, and I think that's big. I think when you've got Mobley and Jared Allen playing the way they have, PJ Tucker's obviously going to be working hard, and so is Dwayne Dedmon. But the Cavs' length there could really be a problem tonight for the Heat, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, the coin disagrees with you.
Yeah, that's why I picked the Cavs. Skeets picked the Heat. So pretty easy pick today.
This one's interesting because I decided in my head, who would I take in this? Okay, I would have taken Miami Heat to cover tonight, and then I flipped the coin, and the coin also said the Heat. So maybe if we just combine our shitty powers together, the opposite comes true. But Tass is going Miami too, and this is the biggest Cleveland Cavaliers fan I know. So something's up, right, Tassie? They're going to cover.
Yeah, they'll probably cover. The Cavs they're good. They're playing really well. As I said, they annihilated the Kings on Saturday night, but they don't feel like a blowout team against good teams. That was a good stat Trey brought up. 1-8 against above 500 teams. Now they can still win.
Yeah.
Cover. That's a lot of points there.
Yep. We will find out. We'll be back tomorrow morning to break down, hopefully, that game. There's actually some really interesting games, I think, on tonight. Like, you look at the schedule, and there's some decent matchup. So hopefully they result in some great games, and we'll talk about them at 10 a.m. Eastern live here on YouTube. Email in your NBA questions, nodunks@theathletic.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, at NoDunksInc, and grab yourself an Athletic subscription. Go to theathletic.com/nodunks. All right, guys, fun show. As they always are on a Monday. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. To wrap up, I need an answer from Succession. It's not a spoiler.
Oh, boy.
It's not a spoiler. This is from the second last episode. My question, was that actually Kieran's Culkin that we saw?
Embrace the day, people.
You could stay, ooh, every day.